1 year after exposing Thaddeus Bradley and clearing their own names, the Four Horsemen have vanished from the public eye. Daniel Atlas lives under constant surveillance, keeping his magic sharp but his life small. Merritt McKinney hides behind a fake career, using his skills only when necessary. Jack Wilder stays restless, missing the thrill. Henley Reeves is gone, choosing a quiet life and leaving a space no one openly talks about. The world believes the Horsemen may never ride again. That changes when a new performance is announced. The Horsemen return with a massive, live-streamed show aimed directly at a powerful tech empire run by Owen Case. Atlas introduces a trick that exposes Case's latest phone as a privacy nightmare, secretly harvesting user data. As the illusion unfolds, the audience watches their own private information appear in the air, projected and undeniable. Within minutes, Owen Case's stock collapses, and the Horsemen vanish in classic fashion, leaving chaos, applause, and outrage behind. FBI agent Dylan Rhodes is furious. He has spent a year waiting for this moment, believing the Horsemen are testing him. He tracks their movements with the help of Interpol and his ally Al-Madre. Meanwhile, the Horsemen regroup and wait for contact from the mysterious force they know as the Eye, the unseen organization guiding their actions. Atlas believes this public strike is only the beginning of something larger, a test of trust and control. Their confidence is shaken when a figure interrupts their escape. Walter Mabry, a former tech prodigy presumed disgraced and forgotten, hijacks their plans with terrifying precision. He exposes their secrets, dismantles their tricks, and forces them into a trap. One by one, the Horsemen are cornered, their escape routes cut off. Mabry reveals he has been studying them for years, learning magic not for wonder but for power. He wants revenge on the tech world that destroyed him, and he wants the Horsemen as tools. In Macau, the Horsemen are forced to work under conditions designed to break them. Walter Mabry controls their money, their movement, even their access to sleep. He knows their habits, their fears, and the secrets they hide from one another. Every conversation feels monitored, every idea feels stolen before it can fully form. Mabry enjoys reminding them that magic, in the wrong hands, is just another weapon. Their target, Arthur Tressler, is hosting a private product demonstration inside a high-security tech facility. The building is designed like a vault within a vault. No wireless signals, biometric locks on every door, and a data chip that self-destructs if tampered with incorrectly. The chip never leaves the room, never connects to a network, and is always under direct watch. To Mabry, this makes the theft impossible. To the Horsemen, it makes it a puzzle. They begin planning in silence, communicating through subtle gestures and misdirection even Mabry struggles to follow. Atlas focuses on timing and human behavior. Merritt studies patterns in the guards, reading body language to predict reactions. Jack experiments with sleight-of-hand techniques adapted for modern security systems. Lola May, a skilled magician working with Mabry, watches closely, both impressed and conflicted. She sees the difference between magic built on wonder and magic built on cruelty. On the day of the demonstration, the Horsemen infiltrate the building disguised as performers hired for entertainment. The crowd is elite, powerful, and suspicious. Every step forward feels like stepping onto a stage with no curtain to hide behind. Atlas performs controlled distractions, drawing attention just long enough for Jack to move unseen. Merritt manipulates small choices, planting suggestions that guide people without them realizing it. The data room is the real challenge. Inside, the chip rests beneath a transparent cover, surrounded by sensors that track temperature, pressure, and motion. Touching. Public opinion turns fast. News cycles paint the Horsemen as egotistical frauds who hide crimes behind smoke and mirrors. Their old supporters question everything, and the magic community distances itself. Mabry enjoys watching their reputation collapse, reminding them that illusion without trust is meaningless. He pushes them harder, forcing rehearsals and obedience, treating them less like artists and more like trained animals. Atlas struggles the most. Leadership weighs on him, and self-doubt creeps in. He questions whether the Eye ever truly trusted him or if he was always a temporary piece. Merritt feels the pressure in a different way. His mind-reading abilities are overwhelmed by fear and anger around him, making it harder to focus. Jack hides his frustration behind reckless confidence, itching to act before thinking. Lola May watches all of this and begins to doubt Mabry's vision. She sees how broken he is beneath the arrogance. Dylan Rhodes finally catches up to them in Macau. Instead of arresting the Horsemen, he confronts them privately. He lays out what he knows and what he suspects. Someone is orchestrating events from behind the curtain, and Mabry is not the mastermind he claims to be. Dylan believes the Eye is still active and that this humiliation is part of a larger lesson. Trust, misdirection, and sacrifice are themes the Eye values more than applause. The Horsemen begin to see patterns. Small moments that felt like mistakes now look intentional. Missed signals, delayed responses, even Mabry's control feels staged in subtle ways. They realize the Eye may be testing them, stripping away their ego to see who they are without fame. Atlas finally understands. The greatest trick is not stealing or escaping, but surrendering control at the right moment. Lola makes her choice. She secretly helps the Horsemen regain limited freedom, feeding Mabry false confidence. Together, they design a final performance that appears to give Mabry everything he wants. A.G. The final act unfolds calmly, almost gently, which is what makes it devastating. Mabry realizes too late that the spotlight he demanded is the very thing trapping him. Every camera, every screen, every live feed that was meant to glorify him is now reflecting his true self back to the world. The Horsemen reveal how his so-called control was built on borrowed tricks and stolen ideas. His magic was never about wonder or truth. It was about dominance. Arthur Tressler tries to regain authority, but his composure collapses as well. The data exposed during the show proves his public image was carefully manufactured. Years of manipulation, exploitation, and moral shortcuts are laid bare. Father and son stand exposed together, bound by ego, resentment, and a need for control. The crowd watches in silence, unsure whether they are witnessing a performance or a reckoning. That confusion is deliberate. Dylan Rhodes steps forward, no longer the pursuer but the witness. He confirms that the Horsemen are not criminals but collaborators in a much larger design. The Eye finally reveals itself, not as a single group pulling strings, but as a philosophy passed quietly through generations of magicians. It exists to remind those with power that illusion should serve truth, not hide it. The Horsemen were never meant to win in the usual way. They were meant to learn humility, trust, and timing. Mabry is arrested, his brilliance undone by his inability to see beyond his own reflection. Lola watches him go with a mix of sadness and relief, understanding that talent without purpose only destroys itself. Arthur Tressler fades into disgrace, his empire collapsing under the weight of its own lies. No grand escape is needed for them. Exposure is the punishment. As authorities move in, the Horsemen disappear one last time, not in panic but with intention. They leave behind no smoke, no mirrors, just clarity. Public opinion shifts again, not toward idolization, but toward respect. The world sees T.